good friend, Salvatore. Salvatore.
Salvatore.
Short for Tory, right?
Correct.
How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing all right.
We got the famous French press here.
Yep.
Feel like a little coffee?
Absolutely. It's good stuff.
I love New York. So, you ever watch these commercials on TV for these, get the vaccine, you should get something to prevent this? So here's what happens to me. Because you never think it's going to happen to you. You ever heard of shingles?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Of course.
What's your preference?
Yeah. Black is
buddy.
beautiful.
Salute. So here's what happens to me, right? Get out of bed, sore as anything, right? My hips, my ribs. I'm saying, well, I worked out, but...
You weren't out salsa dancing the night before?
No. Nothing like that. So, I'm saying, what the hell is, So anyway, it started getting worse and worse. All of a sudden, I look, and I got these shingles going up my ribs, from my hip to my ribs to my... Call the doctor up, get in right away. And she goes, yep.
Shingles.
She said, if we get ahead of it, we start giving the medication now, you try to get ahead of it. But man, what a
painful?
What a pain in the ass this thing was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then you see the vaccines, like, get the shingles vaccine. Well, anyway, for whoever's out there who's over 55, right? Or whatever age they say, because I still think I'm 58, right? But I still don't think I'm 58. You don't
right.
think you're 58. And you look at these commercials and you go, that ain't gonna happen to me.
Absolutely.
Right? Sure enough,
that's for old people.
Right. Sure
we
enough,
are the old people.
Sure enough, bang.
There it is.
And I said, what the is this? So anyway, I'm starting to get off that, but I'm good now. But man, that's a real thing. So whoever's out there watching this that's over 50 years old, whatever age they recommend, go get the, what do they call it? Like it's like a shingles vaccine.
Yeah, my doctor said, and I just said, why not? Because I had chicken pox when I was a kid, pretty bad. And then when my oldest daughter got them, I was in my 20s, late 20s, early 30s. I got them again really bad as an adult. And they said that puts
chicken pox twice.
Yeah, so that gives me a higher likelihood to get shingles, so that's why I got the vaccine. But I'm 63, so I haven't got it yet.
So you got the vaccine?
I got the vaccine.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah, I saved yourself a whole bunch of. Man, it was something else.
You remember Terry Bradshaw had them, and he went on one day and he talked about how painful, all the pain in the NFL, and he said shingles was worse. And I said, man, I'm getting the vaccine. And Terry Bradshaw said it's worse than, because Ted Hendricks used to rip his head off. And, Phil Villapiano and Jack Tatum, I remember all those guys. And he had more pain with shingles than any Raider DB.
It's like a constant burning, like somebody's getting needles, right? Constant pain.
Right. Well,
there's no let up.
No thanks.
Yeah.
No thanks.
So
get vaccinated.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. Get vaccinated. I meant to bring up to you about when you talk about, your family, the Bonanno family, not the Bonanno family, like your personal family, right. The Bonanno crime family.
My dad would say the Bonanno with the uppercase family with an uppercase F is the Bonanno crime family has been come to known, and then Bonanno family with a lowercase f is the nuclear, or not the nuclear, but our immediate family, my cousins, aunts, and uncles, and friends and family.
Okay, there you go.
So capital F or small f, that's how you distinguish between the family and the family.
So he used to say that.
He used to say that. Yeah, that's how he would describe it. The difference. Yeah.
You know what I was always intrigued by was Canada.
Oh yeah.
The Canadian faction up with the Bonanno family.
Oh yeah.
The lowercase, right? No, that's the uppercase.
That would be both, actually, because they loved. I think that one was one that was kind of a, on both sides of that, but mostly the big F, the Bonanno family, because they brought things. The Magadinos were up in Buffalo, and that was my grandfather's cousin, and my grandfather was raised by the Magadinos after his father passed. From getting an injury in World War I. So the Magadinos were very close, and they lived in Buffalo and Montreal and Buffalo. I don't know if you've been up there, but, it's it's just a little river between them. And I think Montreal is further, south than Buffalo, if I remember right. But anyway, that's what they made a lot of money on cigarettes, right? They would bring cigarettes in from Canada with no stamp, right? And they'd bring them right through from Montreal to Buffalo and then into New York City. And they made a lot of money on cigarettes.
But the whole thing with Canada, your grandfather started that, right?
Well, Montreal was right. He really liked Montreal, and he had not only, business and, family, the capital F and the lowercase f, like I said. They had cousins there, and he liked to spend time in Montreal. And he was always welcome there until, there was one incident where they revoked his passport and they detained him. But that's because at the request of the U.S. government. And, then things kind of soured. But that wasn't until the late 60s. But in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, Montreal was a big hub. They had a lot of
still is
interest, right? Yeah, and it still is, right?
What I'm saying is that he created that whole faction.
Oh yeah, and the whole Canadian, right?
The whole Canadian thing, because till today, I think maybe I'm not taking anything away from them. These guys are active as a mother. They're still like the mob was.
Bonanno is Canada's mob family.
But they're still killing out there. Like they're still, murder did not take a holiday up there.
Yeah, people have this misconception about Canada, but Montreal is a big city. Vancouver, there's a lot happening in Vancouver as well.
Yeah, you see all these wars going on, right? And they just start clipping each other, right? And you're like, this was like New York was back in the 80s and 90s. They're still doing it up there.
It's active.
Active, yeah. Like a real mob.
Yeah.
The thing is, they say because there's no RICO statute up there.
Right.
So really nobody, they don't have the RICO law like we do down here. So right there is still the Wild West.
Yeah.
They're saying for that reason. Well, one of the reasons,
But there's a long history, of the family in Canada, absolutely.
But Canada, what happened was, I think, it was all known as predominantly Bonanno, right? Lower F, upper
the big
F.
Family, yeah.
But then there came a time where they went off on their own. Like they're not affiliated anymore.
Yeah.
Right? But that was after your granddad.
When my granddad left, those are the kind of connections. And that was just something that was, under the radar and very lucrative and, pretty smooth all those years, the 30 years that they were, pretty, like you said, running wild in Canada.
Yeah, and everything was coming through there too.
Everything was coming through Canada.
Everything. Yeah. Like, when they started
It was a lot easier. Why not? You're going to pull into Manhattan? No.
Right. Cigarettes. Then from there, whatever.
Distribution, right.
Yeah. Pizza Connection,
Right. That whole thing and the cheese. And they had, interests in Fond du Lac, the Grande Cheese Company, and that Canada is just hop, skip, and a jump from there. So a lot of stuff came across the northern border because it was a lot easier to get across the northern border than southern border was pretty easy until the Orange Man took over. But the northern border is wide open. Yeah, it's a lot easier to cross there.
So everything was going. That was like a pipeline, for everything. Yeah, that was like an amazing, connection as far as for the mob concerned.
Well, the organization, that's what always impressed me about my grandfather. In another world, if he was a CEO of some Fortune 500 company, I bet you it would be, as far as I'm concerned, and I've heard, the old fellas talk about this, the modern day organization, American organization, Fortune 500 organization, is structured and modeled after the structure of my grandfather, and like they put together with the commission. So you can equate the commission to a board, right? A company's board of directors, right? Who guides everybody. All the disputes move up to them, right? And then you have a boss, right? Who is like the CEO, and then you have the whole hierarchy. So they would make this argument that the modern day American structure of the company was built based on what those guys came up with in the commission. So
that's true, because the mob taught the government a lot.
Oh yeah, and business. They drive around those big back cars. When a CEO comes up, they don't come up in a white car. They come in black limousines, and that was before the Secret Service was doing it. They all modeled them after how they do the thing with the lead car, and then the guy in the middle and a back car, and then runners. And they did all that.
Even Prohibition,
right?
Same thing. Now today, you want to get a liquor license, you got to pay them to get a license. It's a privilege to sell liquor. They got a whole, they run the whole thing. I mean, so yeah, gambling. Take every industry. You think about it. The mob taught the government how to do it, or taught them better how to do it. How to do it better.
Because they ran them with with very little issue for years and years and years, right? So,
but Canada is a major. That's always been like an intrigue of mine because the guys out there did not, till today, they're not stopping. I mean, they're just nuts, nuts in a way. Like, they get into a war. You see bodies popping up, this faction, that faction. I mean, there's still, I don't know some of the guys' names today, but what I had heard when I was on the street back then, that they were separate from from New York. Like they went off on their own. I don't know how many guys are up there or how many main guys are there.
In the 80s and 90s, it's completely different than what it was. But at one time, it was, closely run out of New York. Yeah, absolutely.
And in between that was your grandfather was your cousins and everything. So you had actual family up there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're still around today?
Not anymore. I mean, he died, the last of died in 2018 of the old guys, Gary Cantalini. So
that's a name. Yeah. Cantalini.
Right. And they were all West Coast, Seattle, Vancouver, their whole family was the West Coast arm of things, up there in Northwest, because that was separate from, the Bay Area and LA and Vegas, right? So
now the Cantalinis were related to you? Or they were just
well, I don't think by blood, but by loyalty, and they were very close, right? They were might as well have been family. I mean, little f, but kind of a blurry line because they were so close, and we're still friends today. So
Cantalinis, yeah. I mean, I heard the name before, but the main guy, the main Cantalini passed, right?
Gary,
Gary Cantalini.
Gary Cantalini. I think it was 17 or 18. I think it was in 2018. So, and we had, he got buried in Tucson. And there's a funny story that. So, Gary was always, very well dressed, very well spoken, never raised his voice, never got angry, at least not in public. In private, but he was, one of those guys that you didn't mess with. You just knew, he had this presence, and he had my grandfather's full access to my grandfather, always, just almost as much access to my grandfather as my father. So Gary was.
So he was the man behind the man.
Right, he was the guy, and he treated everybody with respect, and I know, he treated us. I mean, he always treated me like royalty. In fact, we'd go to New York, and I don't know how, if we were told, we were probably told, but we just knew if you ever went to New York, the first call you made was to Gary Cantalini. And why wouldn't we? Because he would, send a limo to JFK to pick you up and then, take you right whisk you into Manhattan and say, yeah, I can get used to this. So, of course, I would call Gary. Then he would take you around. There's some great stories, with Gary in Manhattan. And all my cousins have, stories, and I have a couple of personal stories with him. So he was a great guy. And
so he was like the liaison, like with your grandfather.
Yeah.
I mean, he made, he was the guy behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Made everything tick, right? But when your grandfather came out here in Arizona, he came with him?
He was in Milan. He was in Vancouver. He was in Tucson. He was in L.A. He was in San Francisco. And he was in New York. You never knew Gary. He was headquartered in Greenwich, Connecticut. He had a beautiful home.
Gary was everywhere.
Anytime we had a baptism, I mean, even a kid's first birthday, Gary would come walking through the door. So it didn't matter, where you were. Gary was there for all the family stuff. And he was always wherever my grandfather was, when my dad was around, Gary was around.
I think you got a picture of Gary, right?
Yeah, there it is. So this is a good story. So this is my cousin Greg in the back, the handsome gentleman in the blue shirt, and that's Gary Cantalini. Now this is a year before he died, and he was in his younger day. He was very, very handsome, tough-looking dude. Like I said, well-spoken. Anyway, this is in Patsy's restaurant.
I see Patsy's.
Yeah, at 56th Street in New York.
Yeah.
And somebody took this picture, one of our family members, because Sal, the chef, is, is a cousin, is related to us, and, they were just having a meal. And somebody took a picture, and my cousin Joanne Tarantola put it up on her Facebook page. A lot of people who work in the restaurant are friends with Joanne because, they're family, and they kept people kept going and saying hi to Gary and Greg and, chit-chatting with them. And then Sal, the chef, he had, gone around the tables. It's a pretty high-end, nice restaurant. So the chef comes out and talks to him, and Woody Allen happened to be dining in there that night. And there you go. And Woody Allen says, "Hey, Sal, who are those guys?" And he's all pissed off. He's butthurt because
he ain't getting the attention.
Because everybody's walking right past Woody Allen to say hi to Gary and Greg.
I love it. Yeah.
You fuck around and playing with the wrong pistol. My shit got a broken safety. Flow sumo, this ain't a game, Uno. Shout out to my Usos, killing bills like Uma. Balls travel from Pluto, big truck soprano, gabagool and prosciutto. Kicking ill like judo, judge and jury like Judy. Hoes think they knew me, flows flow through me. Nike gray hoodie, contemplating money. Bees swarming like honey, watch your little homie filter through the phone.